Leon.
Hayden, Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, they don't fit in well with the rest of the family. 3 of Janelle's kids are close to 3 of Christine's.
I was completely spacing out at this point, so I just processed what he said, and I thought I'd share my thoughts. So he's beyond wrong, obviously, and Janelle's about to make a good point about why he thinks this way, but the only one in the family that has been separated by something outside of their control is Peyton, and that's for good reason.
Hey everyone, snowbirds. It's Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. We're about to get a huge snowstorm here, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I think we're gonna get like 24 inches of snow in the next 2 days in Minnesota. So wherever you are, if you're not getting snow, will you please enjoy like that warm weather and the humidity? Because my hair could like use some humidity. It is dry, dry, dry. Welcome back to my channel. I thought I had covered literally everything in Gwendlyn Brown's video yesterday, and I kind of forgot about a part. And it actually made me remember that I had a conversation several weeks ago with a family member of Preston Jessup who said very similar things to Gwendlyn because of Robyn sort of putting this like us against them mentality between her kids and the others in the family. There's been this sort of damsel in distress, okay? So Cody had made a comment in one of the episodes that Robyn's kids were not really getting along with everyone, and that, you know, Gwendlyn wasn't, and Peyton wasn't, and Leon wasn't, and so there was all these like family members that weren't really getting along with others. And as a product of that, he was trying to say that there's really only like 3 kids in this family that actually like each other, and it's 3 kids between Janelle's family and Christine's family. Besides that, everyone hates each other, which I don't know if that's true or not. But Gwendlyn had some things to say about that, and her reaction was very comparable to Janelle's response about Robyn and why her kids are so separated from everyone else. And it kind of matches what I have been told happened up in Montana. So there's kind of like, it's like, honestly, it's hard to ignore the information I get from up north in Montana, because I say up north because they're down in Arizona, because it seems like the family that she left behind up in Montana has a very similar take on the family that she has sort of blew up in Arizona, and their experiences with their sort of and their experience of being alienated from the kids. Robyn Brown has basically isolated her children from the world, and she's the reason why her kids don't get along with anyone, allegedly. Before we dive into today's topic, can you do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you've not yet subscribed. Turn the notifications on so you know when I go live or when new content loads. And as always, share this video with your friends. There we go. Okay, so let's dive into this. So it was a few weeks ago, I got a hold of the divorce records between Robyn Brown and her ex-husband, David Preston Jessup. They were divorced back in 2007 after David filed for divorce from Robyn because Robyn had up and left him. She had apparently left him in a lot of debt, and the assets and the debt liabilities were basically split down the middle, and then David had a bunch of loans that he had to pay back to his family. That family members allege is because of Robyn's spending. Robyn and Preston divorced back in 2008, and it wasn't long after that that she hooked up with Cody Brown back down in Utah through her friend Mary. Well, actually through a cousin. And family members of David had said that Robyn had her eyes set on becoming famous and had hooked up with the family after news had broken through the church grapevine about a family that was getting courted by Discovery TLC network for a possible reality television show. And as a result of that, she apparently became interested in them. She had also wanted to always be a polygamist, and her husband David at the time, or husband Preston at the time, did not want to be a polygamist. And he also didn't want to have like a public life because he apparently didn't want the kids to be like bullied because of being polygamists. So, and he didn't want to be a polygamist. He didn't believe in the faith. So after she gets down there, she moves in with Cody and the family, and the kids have a hard time integrating into the family. And basically, what the family members told me from up north was that they had periodic contact with Aurora and Brianna and Dayton until about the time that they moved to the Flagstaff, Arizona. So part of the divorce was for years after the divorce, David and Robyn were supposed to share custody, and then eventually, you guys know that the kids were adopted by Cody. Part of the divorce, or part of the adoption, was that Robyn said on camera that she would agree to let her ex-husband still see the kids and have a relationship with them, and that the family, like their grandparents, aunts, uncles, and the cousins, would also get to see them too. Well, I actually spoke to someone that is sort of on the peripheral, but still in the family, and they had mentioned that they had been really close with one of the kids because they grew up with them. And they had said that after about the time that the whole family moved to Flagstaff, Robyn basically had made the kids so isolated from the rest of the family. And like the further away she got from Nevada, from Montana, the less and less and less the kids contacted their family in Montana. So even though they had been adopted legally by Cody, there was still this like desire by a lot of the people in Montana to maintain a relationship with them. And apparently, according to the person that I talked to, that's sort of what the kids wanted too. So once they get into Flagstaff, this person says that the one of the kids that they were talking to, the conversations basically stopped. And Robyn actually would not allow the kids to speak to their dad, like at all. And so the kids would speak to their dad through other family members. And she apparently did not want the kids speaking to their dad. The kids wanted to speak to their dad, and so other family members were trying to help him have a relationship with them because it was something they all wanted. Well, apparently, this family member says that when Robyn caught wind of that, she cut off contact, and the kids no longer have contact really with anyone up in Montana and their father, and they haven't talked to their father in years. Now, Dayton, a couple years ago, did go up north and see his dad, and he went on a road trip with him, but since then has had limited contact with his biological father. So it's been like since 2018, this family member said, since the kids have really been in any sort of meaningful way connected to their family up north. So the same thing can be said for what's been going on with the family members that are in their immediate area that are siblings to Aurora, Dayton, Brianna, Solomon, and Ari. So because Cody has legally adopted the kids, they're also like technically siblings to Cody's other children with his other wives. So all of Christine's kids, all of Janelle's kids, Mary's kid, they're all siblings through adoption to Robyn's kids. But apparently, this is what Gwendlyn says.
I guess in some ways I'm just sorry we dragged it out so long.
I'm not.
Really?
I feel like everything that you guys
Janelle
did.
is so, like, she speaks and she lets her voice be heard. And I love that so much. And I think that her and my mom are an amazing team for being able to help each other get to that point.
I think it was really important because the biggest thing that we have all produced is this cohesive group of kids.
They're not cohesive.
Leon.
Hayden, Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, they don't fit in well with the rest of the family. 3 of Janelle's kids are close to 3 of Christine's.
I was completely spacing out at this point, so I just processed what he said. And I thought I'd share my thoughts. So he's beyond wrong, obviously, and Janelle's about to make a good point about why he thinks this way. But the only one in the family that has been separated by something outside of their control is Peyton. And that's for good reason. Leon has given themselves space for their emotional health, and Robyn's kids are separated because of her own doing.
I think there's a lot of potential that they will be through their whole lives. I think those years were valuable to have those kids be home and have a nuclear family.
So what Gwendlyn said is that the only person that is really estranged from the family because of their own doing or outside of their control is Peyton, because of the way that he did something to Gwendlyn. There was a physical altercation, and some of the family members don't want to be around him. But beyond that, she says that everything else is for the kids, Robyn's kids, that's her own doing. Like, she isolated the kids and separated the kids herself. In this episode, Janelle actually said that Robyn has always had this idea that, her kids weren't being accepted, that things were like, it was always like us against them. The kids aren't being nice to my kids. I think Gwendlyn actually mentioned in another video about how Robyn would get really like emotional about things. Like she would take things so personally if the kids were like mean to her kids, or if they said something to her kids, or if they implied things to her kids. Like she was very reactive to the kids getting any level of, just normal, I guess, kid behavior. I think Gwendlyn said, something about how when Robyn was pregnant with Solomon, she was really young, and she made the comment like, "Oh, this will be like our first sibling from you and Dad. That will be my sibling." And I guess Robyn got so mad at Gwendlyn, who was a child, and had to like say, "Well, no, because your siblings are like, you know." You're also siblings with Aurora and Dayton and Brianna. And I don't even know if they had been adopted by then, but Gwendlyn said it was just like she got scolded for that. And she didn't mean any harm by that. So she's always had this thought process that the kids aren't accepting her kids. When the reality is probably that the kids were getting treated better. And so there probably was a level of resentment. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Cody was also feeding into it. But the longer they're going on in their relationships, right? The kids are more and more separated from the rest of the family. During COVID, they're totally isolated from the rest of the family. There's nothing going on there. And so Robyn, under her own doing, has basically isolated the kids, not only from their family up in Montana, but also their family in Flagstaff, their siblings that want to have relationships with them, or that she's made it such a divisive situation for them that they can't have a relationship because Robyn thinks everyone's against her kids. So if Robyn thinks everyone's against her kids, if she's labeled David or Preston, her ex-husband, as this like abusive man, which his family and friends have denied to me, they say it was her that was like the one that was a horrible person, but they also admitted that their relationship was because, it wasn't healthy because they got married young and they had 3 kids really fast, and it was just not a good fit for each other. They had different wants and needs. And so Robyn has this like reverse memory where she has this ability to like remember things in the worst possible way, and where she's always the victim and her kids are always the victim. And I think there is probably a sense of wanting to control the information, control access to people, if you can control your kids, if you can control who they speak to and the relationships they have, and if you can trash talk the other people that are around them and make them seem like they're dangerous, it makes them feel like, well, I can't trust you. I can't talk to you. I can't be in a relationship with you because my mom said this, or, what the family member up in Montana said was that they had just become so poisoned by what Robyn was telling them about Preston. So, they're hearing things from Robyn about their dad that are really negative, and he's not there to be able to balance it out and like sort of come to a place where, all right, no, that's not true. I didn't do that. Or that's her side of the story. Like they only heard her side of the story, and the family member was saying like the kids just became so brainwashed to believe that Preston was just this horrible person. It's really sad because it seems like Preston has 4 kids now that are with his wife that he has up in Montana. And those 4 siblings have never met. I don't believe at least 2 of them have never met the kids ever. I think Dayton might have met some of them when he went up and visited a couple of years ago, but like Aurora and Brianna have never met some of their siblings from their father up in Montana. And those kids would love to know their siblings. And then on the flip side, they've got siblings, Ariella and Saul, that they don't see or talk to because Robyn has kept them away from everything. And I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know if she wants to protect them, but it seems like none of these wives trust one another, and they don't trust each other around their kids. And Robyn's always had a nanny and never used the help or the offers from her former sister wives for help. So it seems like she wanted to keep things isolated and keep things under control. And I don't know what that's about, but now you've got Gwendlyn saying it's her fault that they're isolated and alienated, and people up north saying it's her fault that they're isolated and alienated. So is it a coincidence, or are both sides not taking accountability? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye.